it's you. You're here. That's great. Hey, 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 it's you. You're here. That's great.
City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T, red hot, red hot, red hot. City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T, red hot, red hot, red hot. Remix, R-E-D with a little bit of H-O-T. And that's alright, 'cause we're red hot, red hot, red hot. R-E-D with a little bit of H-O-T. And that's alright, 'cause we're red hot, red hot, red hot. Our City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T, red hot, red hot, red hot. City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T, red hot, red hot, red hot.
G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G, good morning. Hey, good morning. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G, good morning. Hey, good morning. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-G, good morning. What, good morning. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-G, good morning. What, good morning. All right, woo!
Hey, it's you. You're here. That's great. 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 Hey, it's you. You're here. That's great.
City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T, red hot, red hot, red hot. City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T, red hot, red hot, red hot. Remix, R-E-D with a little bit of H-O-T. And that's alright, 'cause we're red hot, red hot, red hot. R-E-D with a little bit of H-O-T. And that's alright, 'cause we're red hot, red hot, red hot. City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T, red hot, red hot, red hot.
G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-G, good morning. Hey, good morning. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-G, good morning. What, good morning. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-G, good morning. What, good morning. Last time, G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-G, good morning. What, good morning. Woo, yeah.
Hey, it's you. You're here. That's great. 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 Hey, it's you. You're here. That's great.
City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T, red hot, red hot, red hot. City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T. Red hot, red hot, red hot. Remix. R-E-D with a little bit of H-O-T. And that's alright, cause we're red hot, red hot, red hot. R-E-D with a little bit of H-O-T. And that's alright, cause we're red hot, red hot, red hot. City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T. Red hot, red hot, red hot.
All right. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G. Good morning. Good morning. What? G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G. Good morning. Hey, good morning. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G. Good morning. What? Good morning. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G. Good morning. What? Good morning. Last time. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G. Good morning. Good morning. Woo! Yeah!
Hey, it's you. You're here? That's great. 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 Hey, it's you. You're here? That's great.
City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T. Red hot, red hot, red hot. City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T. Red hot, red hot, red hot. Remix. R-E-D with a little bit of H-O-T. And that's alright, cause we're red hot, red hot, red hot. R-E-D with a little bit of H-O-T. And that's alright, cause we're red hot, red hot, red hot. City Year is what? City Year is what? City Year is R-E-D to the H-O-T. Red hot, red hot, red hot.
G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G. Good morning. Hey, good morning. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G. Good morning. What? Good morning. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G. Good morning. Good morning. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G. Good morning. Hey, good morning. Last time. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G. Good morning. Good morning. Clap it up, everybody. Woo!
Thank you for joining us today. Please welcome to the stage Kate Mead and Pam Keller.
Good morning, and welcome to the Women's Leadership Breakfast, although I am very impressed with all of the men in the audience, so thank you. So the way that we came in this morning and the cheers and the greetings is how the City Year AmeriCorps members welcome students to school every single day. So I don't know about you, but that is an awesome way to get up and get excited for the day, and so that's what our students are seeing. My name's Kate Mead. I am a really long tenured employee of MFS, and I'm a member. I serve on the board of City Year Greater Boston. Pam and I have been co-chairing this breakfast for, at least a long time, a lot of years, so we're super excited to be here. My husband and I have been really actively involved with City Year for over a decade, and it really started with the partnership that MFS has had with City Year for over 25 years, and just really being able to experience the impact that even one person can have on the success and the trajectory of a student's life has really kept me really motivated and excited to stay involved. So throughout the program this morning, you're going to hear a lot of inspiring stories about the impact that City Year is having on thousands of Boston Public School and Everett Public School students, and why, particularly in this post-COVID era, this work is more important than ever. So, Pam.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's so great to be back in person and to see the room full here. So appreciate your dedication on a Friday morning. As Kate mentioned, I'm Pam Keller. I'm a partner at EY. My introduction to City Year was actually being invited to sit at a table right in the back many, many years ago. And I was immediately just intrigued by the great work that the AmeriCorps members do. I had the benefit of growing up where education was a real priority in my family. And at the first breakfast I came to, I was just amazed and I wanted to get involved and learn more. Over the years, I had the opportunity to visit a number of the schools and see the AmeriCorps members at work, and it really allowed me to see the vision. It was amazing. I did a number of great civic engagement projects, school beautification projects, painting amazing murals that really just lightened up the environment at schools. And over the years have just continued to get more and more involved and encourage all of you to do the same. I'd like to recognize and thank all the incredible companies that have come together to support this event this morning. We really couldn't do it without you. I am so appreciative of our presenting sponsor, MFS Investment Management, represented by Kate, and you'll also hear from Janine shortly. MFS has just made a real commitment to City Year as well as to this breakfast, and we are just so lucky that they step up every year. So thank you, Kate, on behalf of MFS. I would also like to recognize and thank our silver sponsors, EY and Ropes and Gray. Great job. Our bronze sponsors, Eastern Bank, Putnam Investments, and Sharon and Lodgen. And then our reception sponsors, which is new this year for us, Bowditch and Dewey, Holland and Knight, and Sunstein. You saw some of these extra special Bloody Marys and mimosas that were outside. Those actually are going to be served, passed around at the tables today. So thank you to all those great companies that have stepped up and supported this morning. It's now my great pleasure to introduce Mayor Michelle Wu's Chief of Equity and Inclusion, Mary Angeli Solis Cervera, who's joining us this morning to share some opening remarks.
Thank you.
Buenos días. Come on, it's a free Spanish class. Buenos días. And buen provecho. Enjoy your meal. Good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Angeli Solis Cervera. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Chief of Equity and Inclusion for the first elected woman of color to the seat of Mayor of the City of Boston. Yeah. Who is also a very, very, very proud BPS mom. And as a former teacher, I am so happy to be in this place today here with you all. I just wanted to tell a quick story. As I said, I'm a former teacher. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, but then I became a teacher in Houston, Texas. And as somebody who understood the power of mentoring, I wanted to make sure that my students had access to mentors because I was never in a formalized program like City Year. But I had a counselor that when she saw me crying in the cafeteria because I was stressing out that I was a senior with a 3.7 GPA and like no plans for the future, she took me into the office and said, let's get to work, let's apply for colleges, and now here I am. And so as a teacher, one thing that I started was, we started a student support group where we identified one adult, and we matched one adult per child to ensure that at least every kid in the school had one adult to go to any day of the year just to get access to a how are you. Sounds really simple, but for those of you who see and work with kids every day, you know how important that can be in the life of a kid. And so I thank you for helping us create the city that we have envisioned and have been wanting for such a long time. We welcome you and continue to encourage you to ensure that you're always raising awareness everywhere you go around the importance of mentoring, not from a deficit lens. Our children are already brilliant and beautiful everywhere that they go. You are there to help uplift them more. You're not there to save them. So thank you so much for the work that you do, and enjoy breakfast.
Next, welcoming Janine Garlick from MFS Investment for us.
City Year, a poem. Good morning to you. We have some work to do. Enjoy the food. We hope it puts you in a good mood. After you listen to the speakers, hopefully you will agree, City Year is a keeper. Let's improve these students' fate and help them graduate. School is hard. Our dollars will impact their report card. Now let me put my rhyming abilities on pause while I talk about this great cause. My name is Janine Garlick, and I am one of the many vice chairs for the Women's Leadership Breakfast. And as you heard, I always have time for a good rhyme. Rhymes are good for the brain. They help us build memory capabilities, which can help us learn. Studies have proven rhymes also helps with language and literacy skills. That's why most kids' books have them, to help young people learn. We all know, and it is why we are here this morning, that learning and education is a critical component for future success. But a famous educator once said, education does not transform the world. Education changes people, and people change the world. But what happens when not all people can get access to what they need in order to learn? What happens when not all people get access to resources they need, emotional support they need? These inequalities can hurt, in particular when those people are young students. This is why I am so proud that when I joined MFS, I was invited to the Women's Leadership Breakfast. I was not familiar with City Year when I first attended, but I was familiar with those cool red jackets I would see walking around the city, which I must say is an awesome fashion statement that will never go out of style. When I learned that those young adults were AmeriCorps members, and those members dedicated a year of their lives, 1,700 hours to be exact, in schools, I wanted to learn more. What I learned was that those members spend those hours serving and tutoring and mentoring. Many companies in attendance today have mentor programs because we know it makes employees succeed and companies better. We know mentorship is important for successful companies. Think about how powerful it is to have a mentor for young adults in the classroom. These AmeriCorps members do it every morning, greeting students with a smile and often with loud cheers, as we heard this morning. I actually wish I could take one home with me, as the only way I get greeted with a smile and a cheer is my dog. These AmeriCorps members help students stay focused in class, help improve English and math scores, and develop social emotional skills. A challenge that is harder than ever with all the distractions we have today. These AmeriCorps members partner with teachers who we all know are asked to do so much. I always appreciated teachers, but when I had to help my kids during the pandemic, that appreciation went to a whole new level, and I know I am not alone in this feeling. There are a lot of challenges when it comes to the education system and getting kids to high school graduation. City Year is part of the solution. MFS has been a steadfast supporter of City's work because we know that inequality one faces in order to graduate makes a bigger inequality later on, the inequality when it comes to wealth. There is a wage premium that is put on education. The average annual earnings of a high school graduate versus one without a diploma is almost $20,000, and we all know then that gap continues to grow larger. MFS believes in City Year and giving access to those who might not have but are in need. After all, MFS did invent the mutual fund back in 1924, a time when your last name needed to be Rockefeller, Carnegie, or Vanderbilt in order to have access to Wall Street. The mutual fund brought Wall Street to Main Street, and today those on Main Street in Boston and Everett wearing those red jackets are providing access in order to reduce classroom inequalities. Maya Angelou once said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." These AmeriCorps members make students feel good who otherwise might not. They know that sometimes it just takes something small to make a big impact, like greeting the students with a smile. And with that thought of a smile, it is time to leave you with my final rhyme. Smiling is infectious. You can catch it like the flu. Someone smiled at me today, and I started smiling too. So it brings me great joy and a big smile on my face to introduce Dr. Regina Robinson, the Deputy Commissioner of Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, who is going to be moderating the following conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Janine. And you can do the good morning cheer at home. You can do it at work. I have traveled the Commonwealth this past year as Deputy Commissioner. I have done the good morning cheer for superintendents, for DESE staff members, for school committee members. It's a thing. You can do it. And then you can also do the good evening cheer, GOODEVENING. Good evening. Hey, hey, good evening. Woo! So Janine, it's your time. It's your time. I'm so excited to be here this morning. Thank you so much. Thank you, Monica, for this invitation to be with you all. I am a proud mom to 4 kids, one who attended the GRU when we lived in Boston and who was a part of City Year and loved her City Year AmeriCorps members. I thank you so much for the impact that you've had on my daughter, Joy, and on countless kids in this area. Although we don't live here anymore, I'm so thankful for the impact when you have an adult who cares for the life of a student. So cheers to you all. We don't just get to say good morning. You all get to say it every morning to your students, and you get to shine that light of hope, knowing what they're coming in the door, knowing what they're facing when they leave those doors. They know that they have a caring adult. So let's give a round of applause for the work that you're doing. I'm so excited to be here this morning because I get to facilitate a conversation with some pretty powerful women. I don't know about those who are sitting at your table, but our table is the good trouble table. Table number 5, keep your eye on those women at that table because the runway for their success is quite far. I'm excited to be joined this morning by Boston Public Schools Superintendent Mary Skipper and Executive Director of City Year, our very own Monica Roberts. Would you please welcome them to the stage? Oh, you can do better than that. Let's give it up for these amazing women. Welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Thank you.
I've given you a hug already, Monica. I was tempted to bring M&Ms today because I'm joined by M&Ms, and these are some powerful Mary and Monica dynamic duo. The work that you all have done thus far has been amazing. Your history in caring for students, your history in leading students and leading the adults who are around students is exemplary, and I honor you, and I'm so thankful for this conversation this morning. So let's dive in. Since this is a morning that we're discussing equity, the importance of access and educational equity, I want to first just begin with understanding why you decided to get into this work, focusing on educational equity. Superintendent Skipper, I'll begin with you.
Sure, great, thank you. And thank you to City Year and to Monica for having me here, having BPS here. City Year has just been such a long-term, deep partner, and can't think of a better way to start the morning. So my why, I think for me, is that I grew up with a single mom who barely finished high school and instilled in me that my way or my ticket to a better future was education. So she really worked her butt off to work 3 jobs to make sure that I had what I needed in any way I could to get a good education. And so when I think from the 3rd grade, I decided I wanted to be a teacher because the people that impacted me the most and I looked up to were teachers. And so that then led to, well, maybe I can support teachers. And that then led to wanting to be a principal. Tech Boston in its creation and wanting to, from an equity in education action standpoint, wanting to have a school where I could serve the students from Dorchester and Roxbury where I lived, and to make sure that they had every opportunity like I did, because I gave a good, strong opportunity for education and attempted to close every gap possible. So that was sort of my why, and to this day, my mother's deceased, but in everything I do, I try to honor her as a mom for believing in me and for giving me every support I could to succeed.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Monica, what's your why? What brings you to this work?
Yeah, my own lived experience as a proud graduate of Boston Public Schools, I went through what was known as the gifted and talented pipeline. And so I had access to some amazing schools, but within my own household, some of my siblings struggled. And because we had a mother and father who knew how to advocate and to push and get the right services, my siblings ended up in a strong path. But I also saw all around my community where that didn't happen, right? And so understanding that education to me is a right. It's something that every child should have access to. And it shouldn't require a parent who's out there advocating, right? Leaving work to come sit in the principal's office until you will talk to me to get what a child needs. And now as a newish mom, so I recently adopted my nephew this summer, and having that same struggle, right? It reinforces for me the need to have equitable access to education, regardless of where you sit, regardless of your ability to advocate. And part of our job is to do that from inside, right? And now I'm on the outside as a partner supporting Boston Public Schools, but that's what brings me to this work. I want other young people not to have to fight for what I've received, but to get it.
That's amazing. Let's give it up. I love the fact that you focused on your why and the roots of educational equity and the roles that you've played in being a parent, a former student, an administrator, a leader, and you know I served as a former Boston School Committee member, so Boston is near and dear to my heart and the work that I know that you all are committed to every single day. So you focused on your why. As you all in the audience are listening to the answers that they are providing for us, you may have some questions yourself. You may want to ask questions around educational equity, equitable literacy, access for students. On your tables, you have note cards, so as you're listening, if there are questions that are coming to your mind, please write them down, and we will have City Year staff come by the table towards the end of our time, and we'll have a small portion of time for question and answer. Superintendent Skipper, can you help us understand what equitable literacy is and how you are addressing it in schools and in partnership with City Year?
Sure. So equitable literacy is a district-wide approach that really puts student needs, and particularly the students who have been most marginalized, our Black and Brown students, our special education students, our multilingual learners. Those are our students. They comprise 85% of the BPS. So it is really a district framework or approach to make sure that our students have everyday access in every classroom to grade level complex text in the form of reading, in the form of writing, in the form of discussion. It is a framework that is linguistically and culturally relevant content and asks of the teacher to break down and identify barriers for our students, that gives them voice to tell their stories and see themselves in what they're reading, what they're writing, what they're talking about. It is a framework that asks the students to lift, asks the students to struggle, so that they are breaking down their understanding barriers and going deeper into their learning in a way they haven't before. It is if you were to walk into a classroom, we do instructional rounds with it, is very interactive, where you're seeing the teacher and the students working together in partnership, but the student's voice is lifted. The student's energy is lifted in a way that doesn't happen often in classrooms if a teacher's just delivering the material and the student's receiving it. So it really is this framework in a way to ensure grade level access to content as a way of racial equity in our classrooms. And it is the foundation in which we've invested for 2 years now, with materials, with training, deep training with the teachers, now in our networks, or regional networks in the BPS. In each of those networks, some of our school superintendents are here today. Those school superintendents are doing rounds with our teachers in classrooms. Central office are joining those rounds as a way to ensure we stay focused on providing this strong, equitable literacy foundation for all of our students. And City Year is a partner in that, right? Which is what's exciting. City Year members, core members are in the classrooms. They're providing support. We would love to even go deeper and provide deep training for our City Year fellow members as a way to support the teacher and the students as students work to struggle with that material and grasp it.
And with every 85%, of the students with either special needs or Black and Brown students and coming from different underserved and marginalized populations, it is really important to have diverse leaders around the students who understand their lived experiences, right?
100%. From kind of day one for me, this is about building a diverse, talented team in BPS. Our students have to, both in who serves them as teachers, as leaders, but in the materials, they need to be able to see themselves. They need to be able to see their lived experience. They need to be able to tell their stories. And so this is going to be the uplifting of our system going forward.
Mm-hmm. Monica, what does this work look like day to day for AmeriCorps members in the classroom?
Yeah, I think, so we are really grateful for our partnership with Boston Public Schools. We, this year, for the first time, allowed our core members to be trained in equitable literacy alongside classroom teachers.
Very good.
And I think that goes a long way to allow us to be infused, not just aligned, but truly infused into the life of schools. So our young people are providing one-on-one support in classrooms, working in small groups with young people that are identified as needing additional support. And then we're running before and after school programs so we can be extensions of that and trying to infuse, some, enrichment programming so it's just not all academics. I think the other piece that we focus on that's really important is what we call the soft skills, but aren't really soft, right? How do we help young people access the resilience that's already in them, right? Build their confidence, help them remove some of the barriers that might prevent them from learning for the day, right? And by having near-peer mentors in our young people and our AmeriCorps members, they're able to make those connections, have those conversations, calm, some of the things that are happening for young people when they walk in the door. So those are the ways that we're helping, and I think what we're most proud of for last year and this year is we're going to be working with the district's transformation schools. We're in 7 this year, but we're going to be working during the school breaks, right? So that when young people are coming for that additional support, we're not just there during the regular time, but we're going to be there during those times where they need the extra support as well.
And what I love about you mentioning it's not just about academics, but it's also what takes place before and after school. I don't know a superintendent on the planet who doesn't enjoy having extra adults in the building, in the classroom, supporting students. Priya, Superintendent in Everett, Mary, Superintendent in Boston, seeing adults who are caring, who are trained, who are understanding the importance of what students are bringing to the classroom, their lived experience, and supporting the teachers and those educators who are in the building is a gift. It is a gift. So very, very thankful for you talking about the importance of supporting students, social emotional. Let's talk a little bit more about that. The needs of the moment that our times have brought us, and understanding that students are struggling. The pandemic has really wreaked havoc on the social emotional needs of our students. And so I'd love to hear from both of you how you are addressing the moment out of this pandemic and how it impacts your ability to deliver on the promise of equitable education.
So I think you said it well, that our students are hurting, right? And I think we see that playing out on a daily basis in difficulties that students have to be able to access. There's a lot of emotions they have. It was a really isolating time for our students. And when we talk with students, what we hear is that they really want adults to love them, to be with them in their space, to meet them where they are, not where the adults want them to be, to have people to talk with. They recognize for themselves, and it's very powerful to hear young people destigmatize mental health and to talk about depression or anxiety or how they're feeling, much more so than ever before, and want to have the resources to help them work through it. So I think as school leaders, it's incumbent on us to provide resources. Social workers, certainly, we have increased our infrastructure to support students in the moment. Certainly in the classrooms, trauma-based practices, and to recognize, trauma used to be what we would call a level 2 or level 3 tier intervention. It is a universal level 1. Every student that's walking through the door has had some form of trauma, some much more so. And so really making our classrooms places where teachers are prepared and trained in trauma-sensitive practices when something happens to see the behavior through the lens of trauma as opposed to just behavior. And so really having restorative practices that invite the student back into the classroom and the community, not exclude the student, as has been done in past. Out of school time, recognizing that something like the pandemic, we can't do everything in the context of a school day. So we, again, have to look at community partners, nonprofits, organizations like City Year, where we can surround young people, both in school and outside of school, to provide that kind of safe learning place that they can take risks with their emotions and be able to feel like they belong and they're seen for who they are.
Excellent, excellent. Monica, how do you see City Year coming alongside and meeting this moment in the schools?
Yeah, I mean, we have the benefit of really having really great school leaders and buildings, right? And so our impact managers who supervise AmeriCorps members are working really closely alongside the school administrative teams. Because they're part of the team. They're not an organization in, they are part of the team. We are aware of the practices. We follow the school's practices. And then I think also because they're close in age to the young people, it provides an opportunity to have conversations that might not otherwise be had. And because of that trusting relationship, they can then connect a young person with another adult in a building who is best suited to serve that support. So our AmeriCorps members are connecting folks to social workers and a parent engagement person, right? Because there's that collaboration in the building. And I think they're also able to help the young people learn how to advocate for themselves and the supports they need, both at home and within the school. So we're really proud to be able to support that work.
Excellent. Thank you so much for just sharing not only the why, the what, but also the how this is working within the schools. We have an opportunity now to hear from the audience, questions and answers. Let's give it up for Amy. Woo! What more can we do as citizens and voters in Boston to combat educational inequality?
So you can demand that it is about outcome. You know, we talk a lot about educational equity and what that looks like, but ultimately, is it happening? So for me, when I think of educational equity, I think, you know, are our students getting access, particularly our traditionally marginalized students, which is 85% of our district, are they getting access to academic programming of rigor to change lives, right? To be able to give them the opportunities that we would want, career, college, and beyond, for our own children. So are they getting that access? And in that process, are we closing the gaps that prevent them from actually fully receiving it? So are we seeing our achievement and opportunity gaps close? Right? If the answer is no, then they're accessing, but they're not actually getting it. You know, it is walking into every school building and being able to see a school building that students feel respected in, that supports the academic programming that we want, that we would want our children to go to, right? It is not being able to look at where a student lives in the city, what language a student speaks or doesn't speak, being able to look at a student from a race or ethnicity standpoint and not being able to predict the outcome for that student. In my mind, and what we're striving to, is educational equity in action. It has to be about outcome. You can demand that. You live in our city, you're taxpayers. You also can contribute to that in different ways. You know, it can be through supporting organizations like City Year. We're about to launch a mentoring program. Take a young person under your wing. Meet with that young person. We met with a group of Berkeley students yesterday, young men of color. And what they were asking for is really reasonable stuff. We want adults in our lives that are gonna listen, that care about us, that believe in us, that see us. Get involved that way. You could tutor if you have time. There's lots of ways in your local schools that are in and around you can make a difference. And if you don't have that kind of time to dedicate, then you can do it by donating and supporting organizations like City Year that can.
Time, talent, treasure. That's great. That's great. How can City Year combat educational inequality, Boston and beyond? Because I know that you all have a large footprint.
Yeah. So first of all, I was going to say, don't even ask me the same question because you hit the nail on the head. So I think part of what we're trying to do is come alongside districts, right? They are already doing good work. It's about how do we infuse ourselves as part of the school and as part of the system. We have, for the first time last year, went into Everett Public Schools, very similar demographics, right? And so we've been looking at how do we do that same work elsewhere. And really proud to be in Everett Public Schools as well, and thankful to the superintendent there. But that's part of what we're doing. And part of the other thing that we do in terms of just providing other access opportunities, we think about how do we make the culture in the physical space a better space. Many of the folks in this room have been volunteers on a project in our schools, right, in beautification, or providing some training for young people. And so we try to leverage our full community, not just our AmeriCorps members and our staff, but our broader community, and bring them to bear on behalf of our school partners.
Excellent, excellent, thank you. Do we have time for one more question? I'm looking at my boss, yes? Is there out-of-the-box thinking to address the teacher shortage in BPS? And then Monica, even beyond BPS. I know one out-of-the-box answer is City Year, because you have adults who are coming into the classroom, and not trying to get your adults to leave City Year, but you're opening up an opportunity. I know I'm not trying to have a career coaching moment, but you're opening up an opportunity, right, for adults who are entering into a building as a City Year staff member, who then recognize the needs in the building and may want to pursue a career in education.
It's okay to poach.
It's okay. Okay. All right. I'm not trying to steal your folks. But is there another way to think about the teacher shortage in Boston and beyond?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a national issue, right? Like, this isn't just Boston. We need to have a reawakening in the country about the call for teaching. And I think it has to start with programs like AmeriCorps that bring young people in, but actually pay them a living wage, right? Because they're doing really hard work. And again, like, demand is important, right? Like I say this often even with the media, what we demand is important, right? If we demand positivity, we'll get positivity. If we satisfy for negativity, we get negativity. So we have to demand. And so this is, because it is a national issue, we have to have a calling out, right, through organizations like City Year and others that are giving young people an opportunity and a pipeline professionally, because we're asking them to dedicate life and time to it, right? I think here in Boston, we're trying to think very creatively about pipeline. Our most diverse, talented group that we have are our students. So how do we reach out to our students early on and show them opportunities in education? What makes my day is when I run into, as the former principal of Tech Boston, kids all over our system who are Tech Boston kids who are doing BPS work. Because what that tells me is we did something right at Tech Boston, that those students had such a good experience on education that they wanted to dedicate their life to it. That's on us to create that level of experience for our students in every BPS school. Then we'll have that. But I think we can create pipelines at the high school level, certainly at the community college level, to get our students in to start thinking about what education could mean for them as a career. I also think our parents are another group. You know, we're starting to work with our parents on pipelines around paraprofessional work and other kinds of work that we could then incentivize and help with tuition to allow them to move through the pipeline to become teachers or to become other positions within the district. So I think internally we have to create our own pipelines, but nationally we have to demand those pipelines.
Excellent, excellent. Final words, Monica Roberts.
So as City Year is really proud that about 52% of our alum actually go into education, right? And I think that speaks strongly of the experience they have in building. And so part of what we're hoping is, as our AmeriCorps members are going through the process, they will either learn that they love it, and they might learn that they don't love it, right? But it's a natural pipeline, and so as I'm going to visit schools this year, I'm seeing a lot of our schools like, oh, I have a City Year, one of your former City Year members in my building as a teacher, which is great to hear. Yes. And part of what we've started to do is formalize a teacher pathway as part of our program. So we started a Teacher Fellows program in partnership with UMass Boston's Teach Next Year program, where our City Year members can spend 2 years with us, so they have robust experience in the classroom. They get their master's degree at night, their second year at UMass Boston. And if they use their up to 2 education awards towards it for as little as $2,000 to $4,000, right? And I wish someone would have told me about that when I was, on my path. But it's a great opportunity, and because they're so well prepared, we have 100% of them placed right now in Boston Public Schools. I can tell you, Everett is asking us too. But what we're hoping to do is grow that program, right? And part of what we're also looking at is how do we start as early as high school? Because that program is primarily for college, it's for college graduates. But we're trying to think about how do we start as early as high school so we can reflect the diversity linguistically, racially, culturally of our local communities, but also provide a pathway, right, for our young people. So that is what we are hoping to do right alongside our partner districts.
That's amazing. And what you're speaking to is a call to action. A call to action for family engagement, a call to action for our higher education partners. UMass has stepped up, and your call to action is for other colleges and universities to also step up, to commit to this work of creating this pathway for educational success within the work that's already taking place at an organization like City Year. Can we please give a round of applause for these amazing women? We can. And now we have an opportunity to watch an amazing video to see the impact of City Year in the schools, one that my daughter once attended, the Greece School.
They kind of like make friends with you, and you feel really like welcome and happy, and they also like cheer you up.
Everything begins with a relationship. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. And so it is essential before anything else that you build those solid relationships with the people in the building, whether that's students, whether that's City Year, whether that's administration.
I think it's invaluable having a core member in my classroom. This year, our class is relatively large. We have about 26 students, so 26 to 1 is quite the ratio, and having a core member helps me balance the academics and the social emotional aspects of being in school every day.
I feel really lucky because we get more help, and also the teachers get a lot of help too, so more students can be helped.
Partnerships with organizations like City Year are really important to meet the moment for our students and for our families. This is a really consequential moment in American education. We see from sort of national patterns and trends that all too often academic outcomes have declined in the last few years, given the implications of the pandemic, and some of the engagement that our students have previously felt pre-pandemic has also declined.
It really put me on the path of like where I wanted to go. Fresh out of college, I knew I wanted to help and I knew I wanted to make a difference. I just didn't know where, and I didn't know how to make that possible. And City Year really put me in that direction and helped me figure out what I'm passionate about. I serve because I want to be the person that I wish I had growing up, whether it's talking about what they order at Dunkin' Donuts or asking what's going on and actually really getting to the bottom of what's happening like in a social emotional sense, I think is really important, and I always wish that I had that person growing up.
I want to help people, and that's what City Years do.
Please welcome Grace Rogers-Heagle, Senior AmeriCorps Member on the City Year Greater Boston Civic Engagement Team.
Hi, my name is Grace, and I'm a Senior AmeriCorps member on the Civic Engagement team sponsored by National Grid. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to share my story with you today. I grew up in Lexington, Massachusetts, which is a town that's well known for two things: being the start of the Revolutionary War and having a really good public school system. School was always seen as a priority for me, and it was set in stone early on that I was going to graduate high school and then immediately go to college, which I did. I attended the public schools in Lexington from kindergarten to senior year of high school. It cannot be understated how much I took for granted the access I had to an amazing education. And as amazing as it was, there were still times when I struggled in school. When I was in 7th grade, I started really struggling in math class. I had always been a good student, but suddenly nothing was making sense and I was falling behind. Thankfully, I had a teacher who offered to work with me one-on-one to get me up to speed on the concepts that just weren't clicking. We met every Wednesday in the library at 7:30 before school started for the rest of the year. I know that getting that individual support was the reason I was able to improve in math that year, and it showed me just how impactful one-on-one tutoring can be for a student. I still remember how good it felt when I finally got 100 on a quiz and how impossible that had seemed at the beginning of the year. Even given my own experiences in school, the final push that got me to apply to serve with City Year happened during the pandemic. In the pandemic, I realized just how privileged I was in my education and how I wanted to give others the same experience I had. It emphasized to me that education is more important now than ever. With everything that was happening and the switch to virtual learning, I realized that education is a key factor in discerning what's going on in the world and how we can best impact one another. I also realized supporting education was the best way for me to make an impact, by getting directly in the classroom with students. I served my first City Year at the Parlin K-8 school in Everett, working with 8th graders in math and science classes, and I loved it. Getting to know all my students was definitely nerve-wracking. They're middle schoolers, the most terrifying age group. But as soon as I got to know them, I learned how incredibly smart, resilient, and most of all funny they all were. I love tutoring my students every day and forming strong mentor relationships with them as the year progressed. Meeting them was easily the best part of my year, and I miss them very much. A couple months into the year, I noticed one student in particular really wasn't applying himself in class. Despite being very smart, he tended to give up on himself and his work because he had a hard time focusing. As the year went on, I began to notice that when I sat with him, I was able to get him to accomplish more and more of his work, even when he tried to distract me with conversation constantly. I noticed he seemed to be able to focus more when he had more individual support. Throughout the year, we developed a really strong relationship, and he was the first student to wish me a happy birthday, even though I found him sitting in the principal's office that morning. In September, he tested about as low as you could get on a math diagnostic exam. But by May, he had the highest growth in his entire class and tested at a 7th and 8th grade math level. I was, and still am, so proud of him. Even though we don't have City Years at Everett High School yet, I'm happy to know that he's set up for success starting the year there. A teammate of mine who returned to serve in Everett this year ran into him one day, and he said he really likes high school so far. Because of the rewarding experience I had my first year of service, I decided to return for a second year, this time on the Civic Engagement team. Despite the successes I saw in the classroom, it can be hard to tell if you're really making an impact over just 1 year, especially when the progress that's made can be so incremental. This year, I decided I wanted to take on a role that I knew would create the broadest, most systemic impact across schools in Boston and Everett. On the Civic Engagement team, we do just that by painting murals, cleaning up schools and parks, and creating kits of school supplies to give to partner schools across Greater Boston. While there are 16 schools that have AmeriCorps members serving in them full-time, my team works with over 40 schools and community centers to fill in the gaps. It's easier to see your impact when you're painting a mural and can visibly see the transformation of the space. It's also very important to give all students a positive, welcoming environment to learn in and provide them with the resources they need to succeed, even if that's just a notebook and a pencil. I can't even count the number of times last year that a student would come up to me because they needed a pencil, or I would go around class handing out scrap paper because students didn't have a notebook. This year, I've been able to help create over 3,300 supply kits for students, most recently for another K-8 school in Everett. Just a couple of weeks ago, I led my first service event at Tech Boston Academy in Dorchester, and it was amazing to see the excited reactions from students and teachers to murals I designed and know that they'll be there for years to come. I even created an entire mindfulness maze from scratch for this event in the hopes that it will provide students with a chance to refocus during the day, even if one of them did tell me it looks like the Death Star. Thank you for your time and for listening to my story of why I serve.
Good morning. So I actually am a firm believer that you give people their flowers when they can smell them. So Grace, these are for you. My name is Janelle Woods McNish, and I have the distinct honor and pleasure of serving on the City of Greater Boston Board of Directors. I am here to help bring together both some investments in City Year, but also to really share our gratitude and support for you being here today. As I look around this room, it's an incredible group of powerful women and a great group of men as well. And we know what women can do when we put our minds together, and we know who really, really runs the world. And so this is one of my favorite events, and I'm so grateful to be here today. Thank you so much, Grace, for sharing your story, your why. We heard so many whys today. I'll share a little bit about my why, and my why, quite frankly, is a little bit selfish, because I think about the investments, and I think City Year is an incredible investment. It's an investment that has return that is so exponentially more than what I give. The investments in the young people who are both serving in these red jackets and in the classroom is really incredible, because these young people are already incredible by themselves. They are gifted, talented human beings who just need support. And when I think about the support that we provide, we're providing that for the future leaders that they will be, the future contributors that they will be, the future communities that they will be building. And so I know when I invest in City Year, my entire community is made better, and I'm made better because of that. And so for me, City Year is just a small way for me to contribute to the future and to the support of the incredible, incredible young people that City Year impacts each and every day. So speaking of investments, I'm going to ask each and every one of you to think about your investment today and really think about the ways in which you can be part of contributing to the greatness that is our young people. We have some incredible opportunities for you today to do so. And when we think about investment, we really are just asking for you to contribute in a way that's meaningful for you, a way that you are able to show your support in support of this incredible organization. We have a few opportunities that I do want to share for those who are able to contribute at multiple levels. On your table, I have a card to show you, but if not, it's on your table. Can somebody wave it? Thank you. There's some support cards. And these are opportunities for you to be able to, at multiple levels, support City Year. Thank you so much. This is what they look like. Today, one of my incredible colleagues has provided an opportunity for those who are willing to give at the red jacket level. And so the red jacket, in addition to supporting City Year, you get this incredible red jacket. But for each and every one of you who considers to give that gift today or gives that gift today, my champion and colleague, Scott Collins, will be able to contribute the first $5,000 of your gift. Those details are behind me in terms of the ways in which you can be part of the Red Jacket Society. So I encourage and hope that we'll get some Red Jacket Society new members today. As you take your pledge card out again, today's investment and ask that I am asking of each and every one of you today is just to make a gift that's meaningful for you. If you could take out the card, and I see a few folks of you doing that now, writing on that. I personally will be doing that as I get back to my desk. Yeah, I'm going back to my desk. Going back to my table. I won't use that D word or the W word, work, as we go back to my table today. But again, I see Monica filling out hers. I see some others doing the same. And so I implore you all to give a gift that is meaningful for you today. We had some incredible speakers who shared about the work, the power, and the impact of City Year. Many thanks to each and every one of you for all of your support being here today. And again, take a few moments, if you will, to provide support for City Year. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's great to see you all. Monica, we can have you come back to the stage. Thank you.
Good morning again. Oh, I know you all can do better than that. Good morning. You cannot have listened to Superintendent Mary Skipper and not be energized leaving this space. So I hope you all are as inspired as I am. I am also full of gratitude, and I ask that you just indulge me for a moment while I thank a few people. I'm grateful to my friend and colleague, Mary Skipper. Thank you for making time this morning. I know that the life of a superintendent, having served under 7 at BPS, is incredibly hectic, and so we're really appreciative that you're able to take that time. Thank you. I'm also grateful for Mayor Wu's office and Mariangeli joining us this morning and for their support in this work and for our city and our school system, so thank you. Yes. I'm grateful for Regina Robinson. Wasn't she fabulous? Dr. Robinson is such a great advocate on behalf of young people in education, and now that she's at the state level, we're grateful to have her there as a colleague, and I'm really grateful for her keeping us on track today and focused, so thank you. And then I want to acknowledge Superintendent Priya Tahiliani, who's here from Everett Public Schools, and her team as well. Thank you. And then lastly, for our school folks, we have our school committee chair from Boston Public Schools here, Jerry Robinson, who is a tireless advocate, has spent a lot of time working in the early education space and has really been pushing and supporting and guiding Boston Public Schools, so we're grateful for her today as well. I would like to also share thanks to our co-chairs, Kate Mead and Pam Kelleher, and all the members of our leadership committee. In fact, if you're a membership of the committee, would you please stand so we can just recognize you and thank you for your time and effort for making this event possible. They're shyly standing. We're really grateful for your leadership, insight, and dedication that made this morning special. This is my first Women's Leadership Breakfast in person. Last year we were online, so really grateful to have you all here in person with us. I would be remiss if I did not thank our fabulous staff, led by Bethany Reynolds with Amy Osborne, Alana Corey, Jana Magnus, Adam Burrick, Molly Putstar, Alex Berg, and Zachary Bryant. Lots of names, but this is the team that made everything happen today. They did everything from your name tags to your programs to the wonderful food, so thank you to my team for all of your tireless efforts. I see them in the wee hours of the morning and at the office doing work, so we're really appreciative. And my last note of gratitude is to you, our guests. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with us this morning. I know that one of the most valuable gifts we have to give is time, and so we're really grateful for that. And want to thank you for your support and support of our students at Boston Public Schools and Everett Public Schools through City Year. We're really grateful for what you have given us and supporting us and really pushing for educational equity. Individual contributions are a significant contributor to our ability to do this work in Boston and Everett. So if you haven't, as Michelle has already, as we have already been heard, please do consider making a gift meaningful to you. But with that, I want to say my final thank you. I hope you've had a wonderful event. We had some fabulous ladies at our table. So I hope you had some opportunity to network. And thank you to the gentlemen who came out and supported us. Let's give them a hand. So we look forward to seeing you all in the future. We hope that you will raise your hand to volunteer at City Year in the coming weeks and months. We hope that you will join us in May at our gala. If you have not been there, you've missed out. Come on. So with that, I'm going to send you off. This is going to be the best part of your day. I'm sorry to tell you that. But when you have your lulls in a day, just think back to this morning. It'll bring you joy, and you can smile. And think back to the cheer that Regina was saying, G-O-O-D. You all can do that, you know. I don't know how you get good afternoon in. I think that's a little long. But, you know, that will bring you joy. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming.